Hello YouTube, welcome to Curious Me channel. This is Shabazz Khan, and in this video we will migrate from .NET 3 to .NET Core 5. Sorry, .NET Core 3 to .NET 5. Now this video is long overdue, so let me begin by apologizing to my viewers. Basically I got caught up in a lot of changes that is currently going around. As you guys know, COVID and all. So I hope you guys are doing well, and thank you for tuning in. So basically I took this time to think about the direction in which I should take this tutorial, because .NET 5 is already out, right? It got released in November 2020. Now it does, so basically it does not make any sense to keep making .NET Core 3 tutorials, right? So if you guys are wondering, is it tough that is migrating from .NET Core 3 to .NET 5, is it tough? So let me answer that question. .NET 5 is very similar to .NET Core 3, and people going from .NET Core any version to .NET 5 should not feel any difficulties. But .NET Framework users, however, may feel some heat. So with that in mind, let's start to migrate our project to use the latest build of .NET, okay, which is .NET 5. And don't worry, every concept that we have learned, like middlewares, dependency injections, routing, exploration of startup.cs files, etc., all of these changes, they still are valid and useful, okay? They do not change any meaning whatsoever. Middleware is middleware in .NET 5 as well. Dependency injection is still heavily used. Routing is still the same. And as just like I mentioned earlier, .NET Core people, or basically .NET Core 3 and above, people who are using .NET Core 3 and above should not feel any difficulties. So with that in mind, let's start with the migration. Okay, now to download the latest SDKs, we'll open this Microsoft's SDK website. Now to get to this website, you simply have to type .NET SDK on Google or Bing, anywhere. And the first site that comes up is the .NET SDK's website. Now click on it and you will be redirected to this website. Now here you can see the list of all the .NET frameworks that are currently available. So as you can see, we have .NET Core 3 and then we have .NET 5. Now if you don't know what .NET 5 is, I already have a video up. You can check that out. The link is in the description down below, and you can click this tab here also to get to that. So anyways, let's move on. So basically it says that .NET 6 is currently in preview. So we cannot use it because, you know, these are early release and we cannot simply use this in production because a lot of things may change by the time it gets out and becomes available to general public. So basically what I'll do is I'll start with .NET 5. To download it, I'll simply click on this. Now I already have downloaded it and it is already installed in my machine, but still I'll go through the process. Once the download is completed, you'll simply click on it. Now it asks me to repair, uninstall or close, right? Because I have already installed it. You guys can simply click next and install, and installation is very simple. You don't have to worry about it. Once you are installed, yes, I'll close this window. Once after closing my browser, what I'll do is I'll simply open my code base that we are using in Visual Studio Code. Now I'll bring up the terminal. So the terminal, I can bring it up by simply clicking Ctrl+tilde. So I'll simply write .NET. Okay, there is a command that will give you the list of all the SDKs that are installed. So I'll simply say list SDKs. Okay, and here you can see all the SDKs that are installed in my machine. So you can see 3.1 is there, 5.0.1 is there, and all of these things, right? So you might also be in the similar situation that you may have more than one SDKs installed in a machine. Now how so there's one very logical question that raises: how will, you know, your .NET know which SDK to use to, you know, run this code? Suppose I am typing here suppose I type here .NET run. Okay, so how will our .NET CLI decide which environment to use, right? It may pick up any SDK and we will never know about it, which SDK it used, right? So how can we handle that? How can we have all of these SDKs and run specific SDK for our specific code? So the answer to that is very simple. we will simply add a global.json file, and keen-eyed viewers must have noticed that this has been present all along because I was already experimenting with .NET 5 earlier. So anyways, as you can see in this global.json, I have simply specified an SDK and the version. So earlier I modified this global.json to only use this SDK because I was obviously going through .NET Core tutorial, sorry, .NET Core 3 tutorial. Now, since we are going to use 5, what I'll do is I'll simply use the latest version, which is 5.0.2.5.0.201. So I'll simply paste it, and that's it. Now my project knows that this is the version of the SDK that I'll need to run this project. Okay, simple as that. Okay, so we are done with specifying our SDK. What should we do next? Now, once we are done here, we'll straight away go and open up our CS project file. So I'll go to the CS project file. Why? Because this is the file where our target framework is specified. Okay, as you can see, it says that use .NET Core 3.1. And I guess you already know what this target framework means and what this means. So what I'll do now is I'll change from .NET Core 3.1 to .NET 5. Okay, that's all. 5.0. That's all I need to do, because Microsoft have, dropped the name Core and they are moving forward with this name and nomenclature. So we'll use this, and this is the official, what am I saying? This is what is the target framework name that you are supposed to give here. Okay, now our application is ready, and our application knows this is the target framework we are targeting, and our environment knows which SDK to use. So we are halfway there. Now comes one of the more important parts. We'll update all our packages to use either 5.0.0 version or above. So this is a tedious process. Let me show you what I mean. Let me copy and paste some code just to mimic a package. So I'll paste a code. So this basically means suppose I have installed a package whose name is JWT Bearer. Okay, and suppose this version was 3. This version was 3.0.1. Okay, now basically what you'll need to do is update this to 5.0.0 and make sure all the packages that starts with this extension Microsoft, you update this to version 5.0.0 or above. Now I am sure most of us do not remember the version numbers, right? So how can we do that? So basically what we can do is we can simply go and check out NuGet packages, right? So how can we do that? Simply open our website. You can either type NuGet packages and it will, straight away take you to this NuGet gallery, or you can directly go to this link, and this link is in the description down below. So click on it and go there. Okay, once you are there, you can search for your packages from here and get the latest version. So since we are using CLI, we can directly get the CLI package from here, and we can get the latest version itself. Okay, so once we are done with this, let me remove this because we are not using this package anymore. So once we are done with this, we will now straight away go to our startup.cs file. So I'll go and check. Hey, thankfully we do not need to change anything here for our current project. So why? Because we are not at all, using any complex stuff that we need to change here, right? But still, if you want to know what things will change here, I'll cover it up at the end of this video, because since this video currently focuses on our project, we will just simply not change anything here, but at the end I'll just verbally go through all the changes that are done, and it's not a lot. Okay, so bear with me. Let's go ahead and start running our code, start executing our code, and see what version we are currently using. But before that, what I'll do is I'll simply add one thing really quickly to get the version that I'll be using. so sorry, to print the version that is currently running our code. Now how can I do that? I'll simply go to controller, home controller, and in the index itself, what I'll do is I'll simply create a view data, okay, to get the SDK. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm creating a view data which contains an SDK that is nothing but the version of the SDK that is currently running this code. Simple as that. Now once we have updated our controller, I'll go to the views, and inside the home index, what I'll do is I'll simply welcome home, or on top of that. So basically what I'll do here is I'll simply say, hey, give me this here. Fine. So let's save this. Okay. And let's run our code and see what happens. Okay, so our code is running, and as usual, it will be hosted on either 5001 or 5000. So let's go ahead and open our browser. Strange, huh? Oh, sorry. Basically, I have to tell it to go to HTTPS specifically. Otherwise, it goes to HTTP by default always. Okay. Advanced, continue to localhost. Okay. Here you can see that we are on a localhost. Okay. Now, as you can see here, our current version of the SDK, it says 5.0.4. Wow. Okay, so maybe the runtime is ahead of this version. So anyways, like basically you got the idea. Like right now we have migrated, and our project is now using .NET Framework 5. Okay. Now, if you are thinking why so less changes, so let me tell you. As I explained above, .NET Core 3 to .NET 5 is not a lot of changes. But if you're migrating from .NET Framework, well, it's a difficult task then. Okay, now let's open the migration document and go through the migration explanation. Okay, by the way, if our project our project migration is done. This is all we needed to convert a from .NET Core 3 to .NET 5, and we are done here. Okay, now this is just some bonus, like for people who have stayed or tuned in for complete migration. So I'll just go through the migration document and try to explain each and everything. Okay, so right now we are using the official document of Microsoft, which is migrate from ASP.NET Core 3.1 to 5. The link I have shared in the description. You can use it from there, and here you will get to know what are the things that you need to change to migrate from .NET Core 3.1 to 5.0. Okay, now if you're using VS Code, you can click on VS Code, and all the codes that will be shown here will be for VS Code. Visual Studio can click on that, and for Mac you can click on here. Simple. Anyways, we have already covered this, and we have already covered this, and Blazor routing. So right now I'm not focused on this Blazor because I do not use Blazor. People who want to know, basically what they have done is the router of Blazor will now behave more closely like a .NET Core router. Okay. Now some more Blazor WebAssembly and Blazor server project. So I'll skip these Blazor changes because I'm not currently associated with this, and I will not try to go through things that I have not done. Okay, so basically, as you know, we have already done this package reference updates. So just change the name from any version to 5, or you can go and check that out in the NuGet package library itself. Of course, you'll update the Docker. If you are using Docker, you can use ASP.NET 5. Now basically they have done some changes in model binding. Okay, now basically this change is mostly related to date time. So basically what happens in .NET Core 3.1 is your date goes as it is. Okay, suppose you are in India and your server is in India itself. If you are sending 12 p.m. to the server running your code, so your code will take the date and keep it in local time. Okay, convert it always in local time. So if you're sending 12 p.m. to an Indian server running your C# code, your time will be 12 p.m. But what they have done here is, now if you send 12 p.m. to a server running in India also, that time from 12 p.m. will be converted into a UTC based time. Okay, at the time of model binding. So Now if you are doing migrating from .NET Core 3.1 to 5.0, this behavior changes everything, right? If you're dealing with date, your entire like project may need, you know, a refactoring. So instead of that, what they have done is you can use this code to retain that value. So basically what they are saying is you can remove that model binder and it will behave as it is. Okay, so basically what they have done here, another change is they have replaced complex object model binder provider and complex object model binder. They are replaced by complex type model binder provider and complex type model binder. Now what is the reason of these changes? Maybe to add support for C sharp 9 record types, because they have added few new types in C sharp 9, if you remember, right? So maybe to support that, they have incorporated these two classes, and they have replaced, and these two classes have replaced these two classes. So basically you can achieve that by, you know, doing this. Okay, update database error page. So basically if you are using, so if you used to generate template, you used to get this database error page, right? Now it is obsolete, and instead of that you'll have to use combination of these two. So first you will add service.add database developer page exception filter, and then you use app use migrations endpoint. So they both will combine and work as this. Okay, so yeah, so I've tried to explain, and of course I missed a lot, like update Blazor, because I haven't worked with Blazor, otherwise I would have explained it. So anyways, yeah guys, so this is all about this video. And now that we have migrated from .NET Core 3.1 to .NET 5, we will keep on moving forward with our tutorial. And suppose if .NET releases 6, okay, so we will migrate to 6 and we'll keep on working on our tutorial, because this will not break the flow and you guys will keep learning new things as well. So yeah, that's it guys for this video. And yeah, have a great day ahead. Enjoy. Bye bye.